Regrettably, we have to focus today on the repercussions of these unilateral Israeli actions that undermine these efforts. Measures which threaten the political process that your council has consistently called for, and destabilizing the region and risking dragging Somalia into regional confrontations, whereas Somalia is not a direct party to those confrontations. Mr. President, the security and stability of Somalia is an extension of the security and stability of Egypt, and that's why Egypt believes that any move likely to fuel unrest in Somalia will not only have repercussions within Somalia itself, but will also threaten the region, creating uncertainty and instability. This will also embolden terrorist organizations, foremost among them Al-Shabaab. They will use the current situation to expand their terrorist activities, thereby posing a real threat to regional and international peace and security. In conclusion, Mr. President, I'd like to reaffirm that your council assume the responsibility to work against this unilateral Israeli move. It's not only about preserving the credibility of the Council's handling of the Somali file for years now, it's also an issue of upholding the role of the Council in safeguarding the principles that are at the core of the UN Charter and the international rules-based order. We look forward to this Council sending out a clear and unambiguous message to reaffirm the unity and sovereignty of Somalia. There can be no manipulation whatever the message used. A message that will reject any attempt to undermine the sovereignty of Somalia. Thank you.
I thank the representative of Egypt for the statement. I now give the floor to the representative of Kuwait.
شكرا السيد الرئيس.
Thank you, Mr. President. At the outset, I have the honor to deliver this statement on behalf of the Arab Group. The group expresses its deep appreciation for the convening of this meeting in light of a grave development that undermines fundamental principles of international law and threatens peace and security in the Horn of Africa and the Red Sea region, with negative repercussions for international peace and security. Mr. President, the Arab Group firmly rejects and strongly condemns the declaration issued by Israel on 26 December 2025, recognizing what is referred to as the Somaliland region, which lies within the sovereign territory of the Federal Republic of Somalia. The group considers this declaration as an illegal and null and void unilateral act that carries no legal effect, as it constitutes a blatant violation of the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Somalia and a flagrant breach of international law and the Charter of the United Nations. The Arab Group stresses that the northwestern region of Somalia is an integral part of its sovereign territory. Any attempt to recognize separation, whether directly or indirectly, sets a dangerous precedent that undermines established principles of the international system, threatens regional and international peace and security, and exacerbates political tensions in Somalia, the Red Sea, the Gulf of Aden, and the Horn of Africa. Mr. President, the Arab Group views this unlawful Israeli recognition as part of a dangerous attempt to reshape the geopolitical map of the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden region of the Somali coast. It constitutes a direct threat to regional and international peace and security, and to the freedom of navigation and international trade, which requires a clear and firm response from the international community. In this regard, the Arab Group reaffirms its full support for the security, stability, sovereignty, and territorial integrity of the Federal Republic of Somalia by land, sea, and air. its legitimate institutions, and its right to defend its territory in accordance with Article 51 of the Charter of the United Nations. The group categorically rejects any use of Somali territory or any part thereof as a platform for hostile or intelligence activities that could undermine the security or stability of other states. The Arab Group also reiterates its categorical rejection of any form of displacement of the Palestinian people from their land and any attempts to alter the demographic composition of the occupied Palestinian territory. It firmly rejects the use of a Somali territory as a platform to implement such aggressive schemes, which constitute a great violation of international law and relevant resolutions of international legitimacy and undermine efforts to achieve a just and lasting peace. Mr. President, the Arab Group calls on the Security Council to discharge its responsibilities under Articles
It has done so by being the first state to recognize the illegal secession of a part of Somalia's territory. Mr. President, in 1964, the Organization of African Unity, the precursor of Africa's continental body, the African Union, adopted a resolution which considered that the borders of African states on the day of their independence constitute a tangible reality. The OAU furthermore solemnly declared that all member states pledged themselves to respect the borders existing on the achievement of national independence. This principle is further entrenched in Article 4B of the Constitutive Act of the African Union, which clearly states that the Union shall be guided by the respect of borders existing on achievement of independence. This principle of uti possidetis reaffirms that colonial borders at independence must be respected. These principles have been the legal basis existing on achievement of independence. This principle of uti possidetis reaffirms that colonial borders at independence must be respected. These principles have been the legal basis. This principle of uti possidetis reaffirms that colonial borders at independence must be respected. To recognize the illegal secession of a part of Somalia's territory must be condemned as a violation of the UN Charter and international law. It is ironic and cynical that Israel wishes to be the only state to recognize Somaliland, while at the same time rejecting the recognition of the state of Palestine, which the overwhelming majority of UN member states have recognized as being legal in terms of international law. It is incumbent on this Council and the entire UN member states to safeguard the norms that have come to define our peaceful interactions. The actions that negate peace, such as the actions of the State of Israel, therefore warrant condemnation. I thank the entire UN member states.
I thank the representative of South Africa for his statement and nice words addressed to my delegation. The representative of Sierra Leone has asked for the floor to make further statement. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I thank you for the opportunity to say a few words on behalf of my delegation, as this may be the final formal meeting of the year, and as Sierra Leone concludes its tenure on the Security Council. Allow me to firstly extend sincere appreciation to you, Mr. President, and the delegation of Slovenia for successful presidency and for your steady and professional manner in which you've guided the work of the Council this month. As an elected member of the Council by the General Assembly for the 2024-2025 biennium, Sierra Leone places on record its firm conviction that we've endeavored conscientiously and resolutely to discharge our responsibility in line with international law, faithful fulfillment of the UN Charter. Throughout, we've sought to build bridges through partnership, anchored in principles, guided by pragmatism, and driven by the Council's responsibility to maintain international peace and security. We've also endeavored at all times to uphold the solemn responsibilities set out in the UN Charter, that the Council acts on behalf of the entire membership of the United Nations. In that spirit, we are grateful to colleagues across the membership who've described Sierra Leone's contribution as one marked by moral authority and strategic clarity, anchored in the defense of international law, justice, and our shared humanity. Let me also renew our thanks to all members of the Council, permanent and elected, for the solid cooperation during this demanding period. We extend particular appreciation to our fellow A3 Plus members and to the wider E10 for the solidarity and collaboration. We particularly express deep appreciation to the outgoing members, the class of 2025, Algeria, Guyana, the Republic of Korea, and Slovenia, for the partnership, solidarity, and the commitment shown in navigating a complex and contested period. We also warmly congratulate the incoming members, Bahrain, Colombia, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Latvia, and Liberia, and extend our best wishes for a successful and impactful tenure. To Somalia, the incoming President of the Council, we convey our best wishes for a smooth and successful presidency. The monthly rotation of the Council's presidency remains one of the clearest expressions of the sovereign equality of states enshrined in the UN Charter. The Council's rotational presidency is a value-based institution that must be respected and safeguarded. I also express Sierra Leone's profound gratitude to colleagues in the UN Secretariat for their professionalism and certainly steadfast support throughout our tenure. In particular, we thank the Security Council Affairs Division, SCAD, and all Secretariat colleagues, from conference officers, interpreters, translators, and the technical teams, to safety and security personnel, whose dedication ensured that the Council's work could proceed, often under intense pressure, and whose quiet excellence underpinned every meeting. I also wish to place on record a special acknowledgement of the dedication and commitment and work of the diplomats of the Permanent Mission of Sierra Leone, whose professionalism and sacrifice over the past 2 years contributed meaningfully to the Council's work in service of peace. Mr. President, on the important topic of consideration in this meeting, Sierra Leone reiterates once more the clear position expressed by the A3 Plus in the statement delivered by the Permanent Representative of Somalia, affirming unequivocally the sovereignty, unity, and territorial integrity of the Federal Republic of Somalia. These are not optional ideals. They are foundational obligations under the UN Charter and the bedrock of Africa's stability and international peace and security. Yet this matter again demonstrates a deeply troubling reality. Fundamental principles of the Charter are being disregarded, and the Council risks being drawn into a period marked by blatant disrespect for international law and an environment that can be perceived as enabling impunity. So it underscores our firm belief with clarity that this seeming era of impunity is a blight on our collective security system, and it will not endure. Accountability, legal, political, and moral, will ultimately put an end to any illusion of impunity, as the alternative cannot be a reset, but an erosion of the very framework built to save succeeding generations from the scourge of war, or from hell, as aptly said by former UN Secretary General Dag Hammarskjöld. Finally, Sierra Leone leaves this council with a deepened conviction that the reform of the Security Council is not merely desirable, but imperative. The historical injustice against Africa must be redressed fully and without further delay if this council is to retain legitimacy, credibility, and effectiveness. Until that reform is realized, Sierra Leone encourages all members to uphold the heightened responsibility entrusted to this council, to act with restraint, fidelity to the Charter, and an unwavering commitment to international law. so that 2026 and beyond may be more stable and peaceful. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Sierra Leone for the statement. The representative of Guyana has asked for the floor to make a further statement. I give her the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ghana's position on today's agenda item has been fully expressed in the A3 Plus statement delivered earlier by Somalia. However, I wanted to add these few words. As this seems likely to be our final meeting for the month and year, and it's certainly never certain, and Guyana's last meeting as a member of the United Nations Security Council, I take this opportunity to commend you, Mr. President, and the delegation of Slovenia for a successful presidency for the month of December, and wish Somalia the very best for their presidency in January. Guyana was honored to serve as an elected member of the Security Council for the past 2 years. During our tenure, we were steadfast in our commitment to contribute to the maintenance of international peace and security, and placed respect for the UN Charter and international law at the center of our efforts. We leave this council even more resolute in this commitment and thankful for the opportunity to have made a modest contribution. I extend Guyana's heartfelt appreciation to all council members for their support and partnership during our tenure. I also thank SCAD and the UN staff for the kind support provided. To our A3 brothers and sisters, joining the A3 Plus mechanism was one of the best decisions Guyana made at the start of its tenure. We are deeply appreciative of the partnership, friendship, and cooperation we enjoyed with Algeria, Mozambique, Sierra Leone, Somalia, and the African Union Permanent Observer Mission. Special appreciation also to our fellows in the class of 2025 who will move on like us at the end of this month. We extend best wishes to the incoming members of the Council, Bahrain, Colombia, DRC, Latvia, and Liberia. Thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the representative of Guyana for the statement. The representative of Algeria has asked for the floor to make further statement. I give him the floor.
Thank you, President. I can attest to the fact that you served as the catalyst for limiting elected members of the council, and you managed to bring us together behind the objective of a fairer world, a world of peace, a world of security. Now, it would be remiss of me to end without paying tribute to my A3 Plus colleagues. In particular, I'd like to pay tribute to the colleagues coming from a non-African country, colleagues which nonetheless held on throughout the mandate and committed themselves to staunchly defending African causes here on this council. I am referring, of course, to our colleague from Guyana, Ambassador Carolyn Brisket. At a time when Algeria is preparing to leave the council with a feeling of having accomplished its duty, I would like to tell my colleagues, elected members of this council, but my message also goes out to those who will be coming onto the council